We got places to go, people to see, and wrestling to talk about. Welcome to the TFW podcast. We are already at episode 179. That is ridiculous. But we are here. I continue to say we are the best kept secret in wrestling podcast because we are. And with your guys' help, that won't be a thing for too much longer. But shout out to all the freaks out there, supporters, listeners of the podcast. Y'all know we appreciate you. We love you. I do have Rhodesia with me in the house. Ishan is not with us today. Get well, Ishan. He actually, I'm gonna pull the text up to make sure I don't get his words wrong.
Yeah,
he was in urgent care earlier today, and he sent it to us and said, "I'm shivering like a bitch in heat over here." So God bless, Ishan. God fucking bless to you. We hope you feel better. You be back next week. But as I told you guys last week, we are going to be full of surprises on the TFW podcast for the month of December and probably some of January too. And I am excited for this episode because I got one of my longtime friends on the show. He is an absolute supporter of the TFW podcast. You guys probably hear his name maybe every other podcast because he goes hard in the YouTube comments and on Twitter. Chris Bushman is on
government?
the podcast. What is up, sir?
Hello, how's everybody doing? Shout out to all the fellow freaks. Really glad to be here.
Long time coming, brother. Long time coming. So, of course, I know we go way back. Like I said, way back. But tell the listeners kind of just how long you've been watching wrestling for, all that kind of good stuff.
Wrestling kind of came into my life in the 90s. I'd say I got into it right around the formation of the NWO. I can remember like Hogan Andre at the Silverdome. That was a big deal around here. I'm from Pontiac. So I remember, like, you know, everybody in Pontiac had that on. I vaguely remember that moment as a kid, but the formation of the NWO was when I became like a regular watcher of professional wrestling, and just kind of have stuck to it. I've had a lot of good friendships and bonds over the years. A friend of mine who passed away to COVID a couple years ago, Conry, he stayed in and kept me in wrestling. Transitioned to my time in GameStop where I met you. We kind of bonded over wrestling over the course of my career. It's just something that I enjoy watching, and it's probably one of my favorite things in the world. You see behind me, vaguely or barely, I can tell, the Funko Pops. The entirety of that collection, I'd say at least 90% or better of it, is just WWE characters. I've got WWE titles. I'm just a huge pro wrestling fan. I love to get people together. Some of my family, some of my children have gotten into it. And it's fun. It's family. It's everything to me. So,
I told Chris, if you're watching on YouTube, he is putting our setups to shame. He gonna make me go out and buy some damn lights for the next episode. If you guys,
gonna be the freaks, then
guys gotta go on YouTube. Check out this man. Got the purple lights. He's got the blue lights. He's got a whole vibe over there.
Actually, I'm on TikTok at SeaBearSmash. That's where I've put most of the content that I've made as far as the room goes. I've got videos that are kind of themed around particular Funkos. I've got videos just kind of showing off and showcasing the room. This is probably one of my favorite things that I've put together and probably worked my entire life to achieve. This behind me is the fruits of my labor. Like, this is something that I'm very proud of that I was able to accomplish. And so I'd really appreciate it if anybody could go and just take a look, check it out.
Go check them out for sure. So let me ask you, talk about the Funko Pops. Mm-hmm. How many you got?
Not as many as I used to. So at one point in time, I was buying every license. The thing about Funkos, man, is if you love something, there's a Funko for it. NBA, NFL, movies, TV, games. And so anything that I had some kind of attachment to or was my favorite movie. Oh, The Matrix. Oh, favorite Quentin Tarantino, Kill Bill. Favorite WWE wrestler. Like, they have it. And I was going crazy. Especially when, during my time at GameStop, we started carrying them. And you could pre-order them. And I was like, oh, I seen something that I like. Gotta have it. At one point in time, I had amassed a collection of close to, I'd say, 2,000. I sold off a big portion of them and used the money that I made off of it, and it was tons of profit. If you sit on them long enough, like, I'm not gonna be bashful about it, what I sold, I made $12,000 back.
Woo!
And I probably spent, if I'm being honest, employee discounts, deals, specials, buy two get ones. I'll say I probably spent $7,000 over the course of earning them. So it was nice profit on a lot of that. And I took my family on a nice vacation. And then I said, okay, well, how am I going to narrow this down? WWE. And there's a handful of exceptions to that. I'm a huge Power Ranger fan. That was something that was important and cool to me growing up as a kid.
Hell yeah. Who was your favorite Ranger?
Oh, green and white all day.
Okay, there it is.
Tommy, rest in peace, Tommy.
Yes, sir.
No, that's not his real name.
It's us, damn it.
He's
absolutely. Mama call him Tommy. I'm gonna call him Tommy.
And then certain games and movie franchises, like I kept a lot of my Disney stuff. I kept my Mortal Kombat stuff because that's another huge franchise that I love and enjoy. But primarily WWE. There are very few exceptions to that rule. I've got a little bit of space left, and it's going to be kind of dedicated to wrestling.
Nice. Excellent. Well, perfect segue, because we are about to talk about some freaking wrestling. And you did say you started watching wrestling in the 90s. So you do not remember the first Saturday Night's Main Event, do you?
No.
Or do you?
No.
I don't even know. Rhodesia was barely born.
Well, according to E, Rhodesia's like 16 years old.
I'm infant right now. Actually, I'm an infant.
So let's just talk about seeing you guys don't remember Saturday Night's Main Event. Just give me your thoughts on the feel of the show. We won't talk about what happened yet. We'll get to that, of course, after. But I want to know just your thoughts about seeing that neither one of you were around for the first Saturday Night's Main Event, or when Saturday Night's Main Event, in my opinion, was really Saturday Night's Main Event. They brought it back a couple times, and we had some specials. It wasn't what it used to be back in the day with Hogan, Flair, Mr. Perfect, Ultimate Warrior, that kind of thing. Give me just your thoughts about what they presented on Peacock and NBC this past weekend.
You want to go first, Rhodesia, or?
You go first.
Okay.
The guest always goes first.
I could definitely pick up on the retro feel of it. The suits, the referee, the music was very like, 80s, 90s, like that theme song for the show. So there was definitely that retro feel to it, which I always liked. They used to do that when they would transform the ring for like Legends Night. The old school logo and the turnbuckles, the ropes would be different, the ring mats and aprons, and so that part of it I could definitely pick up on for sure.
Rhodesia?
Can you hear me okay?
Mm-hmm. Yep, your audio's coming out of your computer, not your microphone.
Oh, my bad.
While Bush is over there getting text messages, I told you got some freaky shit going on in that basement. Look at it. Definitely got some freaky shit going on. So while you try to figure out your audio situation, Rhodesia, this was, to me, and for me, not to be hyperbole, but it was like a love letter to anyone who used to watch the old school Saturday Night's Main Events. Only thing that was missing was the beginning promos to start the show in front of the green screen with either Mean Gene or whoever, or by themselves. That was the only thing that was missing, was that part. But from the super tiny, skinny entryway to the way it was shot, to the refs wearing what they were wearing, I loved it. I was in heaven. The show overall for me was like, I remember I was sitting there watching, I'm like, this is just vibes. I could just watch this type of wrestling show for hours and be content. I know there was some talk out there of maybe too many matches. The matches were kind of short. I could see that, but I think I knew what I was going to get out of it. And what we were going to get out of it was WWE giving casual fans as much as possible so they would become a WWE fan by the time it was all said and done. So they made sure to highlight some of the bigger stars without giving too much away, because we got Netflix, of course, January 6th. But they kind of gave you, it was like an incredible sample size of WWE. If you want to know what WWE is all about, if you watch Saturday Night Main Event, you pretty much got it. So I super enjoyed that just from a old school perspective. What did you guys think about them running the storyline of Kevin Owens giving Cody the package powerbomb and not having that in the show on television.
I was hoping you would bring that up. So your perspective on the show, very different than mine. So you and I have been talking back and forth as far back as Crown Jewel, as me coming on as a possibility and kind of leading up to where we finally got it here today. And so I've tried to be locked in when I'm taking in wrestling content. Like E will tell you, like there's a lot of times where he's distracted. I'm very much that way. There's 2 TVs back there. One usually has my Xbox going. The other one has whatever wrestling program I'm watching. I've kind of refrained from doing the gaming piece and tried to stick to just locked in on the show so I can kind of just bring my best self and my best thoughts to the program for you guys. And to me, that show was tough to watch.
Ooh.
Because a lot, again, E and I are very similar in how we take in wrestling and how we feel about it. You say it all the time, good wrestling and good matches don't make it's not everything. It has to be more than that. You have to tell a great story. And the best part that got told on that story wasn't even aired on television.
Ooh.
So real quick, Rudy, before you go. So then, were you disappointed? So take out, because we don't know about the package power driver yet, right? The show's over. Mm-hmm. Cody's got his hand raised. We fade to black. At that moment, at that second, are you sitting there like, damn, I expected more? Are you sitting there like, okay, that's it? Or did you say, okay, it was a good show, and then maybe when you got on social media, you're like, oh shit, why wasn't this on TV?
Terrible answer to a question, but I'm coming back to you because you guys said last week, and I think it was you that said it can't just be Chelsea Green.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, outside of that, what new thing, what storyline really progressed in a meaningful way on that television show? To me, it was what we seen on the internet after the show went off the air. And so, yeah, I was very much left wanting for more because, like E said, I believe it was last week, I'm here for the drama. I'm here for the story. I'm here for where do we go from here? Like, what happened? I mean, when I think about like the great shows over the last couple of weeks where I told you that Raw was cooking, I was locked in on that Raw from start to finish.
And that was the one where Punk came back, right? It was the initial Punk and Seth.
And then that happened, the 10-year New Day thing, and I was so kind of bummed out that hit. And then you guys had that your episode for that week because I got notes for that show. and so, like, to my point, like I'm like that whole show as an example, very locked in. Saturday night's main event, I was like, man, maybe I could just go ahead and go to bed and catch these clips, and so I'm up to date for the pod.
Wow.
I would probably say the first question you asked was kind of my thoughts on the feel of it. We'll get into the show later, but I would say because I did not watch Saturday night's main event. First off, just Saturday night's main event is really hard for me to say. Like every time I heard them say it, I'm like, oh, that feels hard.
Of course it's hard for you to say because you put S's on shit you're not supposed to put S's on. Yeah. So of course if you're supposed to put an S on it, like, you don't want to put S on it.
Oh, it hurts.
Yeah, I used to keep a running tabulation of all. It's called the Book of Rhodesia.
But hey,
and I got all the words you made up over here.
S's, and most of the words I made up is actually real words. But listen, I was there and I had to take it in and I had to say, you know what, there's still energy on this show. Full transparency, I didn't get to watch it until Sunday, and I actually had to watch it in two sittings. And what I will say, down to the refs' attire, I thought that was really cool and it looked really nostalgic. But I just really felt like there was no special emotional engagement for me for Saturday night's main event. That's just how I felt. I felt it was like a blend between a really good house show and a really good regular episodic television show. I thought the triple threat match for the men's championship match was incredible. I loved that a lot. I mean, to the point where I rewinded it and I had to go back and watch a few times at certain spots because I'm like, wow, did I just see that? Overall, that match was incredible. But Chris, bringing back up that Raw we saw a few weeks ago, that was an incredible show. But again, it was just the feeling and excitement of it. Thought it was cool. At the end of the day, I saw on Twitter everybody just, oh my God, this was the best show wherever. And that to me was complete nostalgia, because I didn't feel that at all. And I don't want to take that away from the people who felt that. You even mentioned early on this show right now, Matt, that you kind of had like the goose season. It felt good. It was a vibe. It was back to kind of things that you remember. But for me, I didn't get any of that. I thought the show was good. Like I said, the triple threat match, triple way match, I thought was phenomenal. And then now the second question you asked about how I feel about them showing the best part of the show afterwards. I feel like before we even got there, I felt like something was going to happen in the main event. And it didn't happen. So just like how I guess maybe someone had said, if it was a Crown Jewel, that if there was not going to be like a Rock return, or was it that we just saw? Well, I feel disappointed. And I had originally said, yeah, I feel disappointed. War Games.
Yeah.
War Games. I had originally said I was going to be disappointed. After watching War Games out, I said I wasn't disappointed, that I was satisfied. I almost felt like there was something else that should have happened. Then when I told you, Matt, like, hey, yeah, I finished watching the show, he was like, well, now go online and see what happened afterwards. And then I saw that. And I thought that was pretty cool, because, again, that's kind of been KO's thing. Like, and then Cody's beatdowns, every time he's gotten beat down is usually after the show. So to me, I thought that was a cool touch, especially for the people that was there. It probably gave them like that ability to say, oh, this happened while I was here live at the show. So I thought that was pretty cool. You didn't see that on the actual pay-per-view or PLE or on Saturday night's main event. I'm okay with that. I love how they did that. KO has been beating everybody else afterwards, or not on cameras. So love that part. Thought that the show was just it was fun. It was a good fun show, and it did nothing else to me. I had no other emotional goosies to it.
So wait.
I would say this. I was vibing with my dude Jesse Ventura. I mean, from the moment he started talking, when he first came
Jesse
out,
was
like,
on one.
This is my soul animal, spirit.
That
animal
is the
right
heel Jesse that I remember in the 80s. Healing the hell out of Hogan. All the baby faces couldn't do anything right. All the heels did everything. Man, I'm telling you, like that was Jesse. So that was cool to see. You could tell they probably had some notes for him, but that's fine. Right, like that. We're not here to nitpick. Like, oh, Jesse, how much have you really watched of the product? I thought he did a very good job night one after not being there. He's supposed to be there for the next few. So 2 thumbs up for Jesse.
Yeah,
he brought the feelings back.
Mm-hmm.
He kind of flubbed a little bit when he tried to get on Dusty there, right as they brought him out. Next,
my man said the only thing he had was abs. Like what?
Dusty, I was like, abs.
What?
I don't abs. I can't make.
But I was surprised he said he's never wrestled him. I don't know if that was true or not, but I thought that was that. Yep. I thought I was shocked by that, hearing that.
But think about somebody like him too. We talk about just like wrestling, how it is. Here I am. I was in the company, traveled up and down the roads with your father, with your dad. I know your dad, and here I am watching you. I get to call your match. Like, how fucking cool is that?
Amazing. Just
for everybody around, right? I talk about that with Cody being able to main event Saturday night's main event with the winged eagle belt, which was awesome. So now let's talk about the match. Let's talk about the finish. Let's talk about what happened on social media. I said on the pod last week, I said in no world does it not make sense for Kevin Owens to not win the championship. I said Cody Rhodes didn't have anything next. Let's do this. We can do the rematch at the Rumble, et cetera, et cetera. So even when I'm off a little bit, I'm typically still very close. And I was really close on this one because Cody's out. Cody's out.
Hold on. You doing a Terrence Howard from
when I'm right, I'm wrong. Even when I'm wrong, I'm right.
Right, because I could have been right.
Because I could have been right, but I was wrong. But I could have been wrong, so I'm right. That's what it is. So Cody's gone. Cody, hell of a career, man. No problem. Do not come back. Do not come back. I do not want to see this man paralyzed. He had a hell of a run. Go ahead. Raise that jersey up to the rafters.
Come on.
Thank you, Cody.
Hey, Chris.
When I need him.
Thank you, Cody.
Hey, Chris, we had the
Thank
AEW
you,
eulogy.
Cody.
You about to do a Cody eulogy now?
No, I'm not going to do that yet.
Okay.
Maybe next week.
Okay,
like it.
Maybe next week when he gets his checkup from the doctor with all the made up words from that tweet.
Homelander jacket up from the rafters. Like, oh.
So, and I do have a question about that. Kind of fun after we talk about just the match. So, if we want to geek out about why they didn't show it on television. My thought is, one, it adds a level of realism to it. Cody jumped or got jumped by KO at the end of Bad Blood. It was only on the internet. Secondly, I think, and this is going to sound crazy because I'm sitting there watching the show and you're saying, hey, don't put it on television. But I think it's a genius move. They said on Raw Monday, it got 390 million views or something across all social media. Saturday Night's Main Event did 2.3 million viewers from NBC and Peacock. Put two numbers together, they said it was about 2.3 million viewers. Now, who knows what other clips were clipped up on social media and they got hundreds of millions of views, if anything. But more people saw and interacted with the package power driver than probably anything that actually was televised on NBC. It's a win-win.
But Chris just said that. Yep.
It's a win-win because
That's
I know when I went on and saw it, it just, all it did for me, what it did was it re-energized me after watching the show. So now, like, the show's not over. Even though the show's not over because now I got to see what everybody's talking about. And now we're watching different angles and they're taking other people's, shots from it and et cetera, et cetera. So I think that's something they're really starting to lean into. I appreciate it. And it's going to drive more traffic to social media, which is probably going to drive more profits for them. But it's going to make you, as soon as every show is over, let me go on and see if anything happened when the show was over.
That's fair. And you're right about like the seeing it from different angles and stuff like that. I know you guys aren't big on TikTok, but like so many TikToks and clips from the crowd that was in those first few rows. So it's not just WWE putting that content out. It's the fans that were there putting content out too. Like, oh my God. So to your point, yeah, I mean, business wise, yes. Fan wise, watching the show, like, man, I really would have loved to see that on TV.
Yeah. I think the match though was enough to where it was okay. Like, there's sometimes where there's a flat finish and then you see something on TV or you see something on social media afterwards and you're like, oh, they ran out of time.
Yeah.
That should have been on television. I don't think that was the case. I think this was done purposely to drive up social media viewers and that conversation. Thought the match was really good. In the video, we saw Triple H get physical with Kevin Owens.
Yes, I love that.
And so is that the catalyst for Randy to come home? Because they have a bond.
Of course they do.
Or is Kevin just laying everybody out? RIP everybody. And when does this progress? Does it is he written off for a while? Like Randy's been written off for a while?
Well, we absolutely have to hear something from him putting his hands, because in the very end of that clip, he did push and shove Triple H back. So he's going to have to answer to that for sure, whether that is an indefinite suspension or whatever that case is. But I love that because, again, that looked so real. And we'll talk about maybe on Raw about the realness of that interaction between the two of them. It doesn't have to be dangerous, but just the intensity in it. And when I saw that, I'm like, oh, snaps. Like, again, for 1 second, when Matt said, go to see what happened afterwards, I see that clip, and then I see the clip. I actually saw the first clip of Triple H and KO fighting first. And I was like, oh, shit, what happened? And then I saw the clip about him power driving Cody. And for a hot second, I was like, oh, my God, like KO fucking lost it. And I'm like, oh, shoot, I just got to put in the work. But the point is, it felt like that. And I can only imagine how many people who aren't knowing that it's scripted and predetermined would probably be like, oh my God, like what's going to happen to KO? But to me, for a hot second, I was like, oh shit, the shit just hit the fan. KO about to leave, go to AEW.
So heel KO is something special. I mean, I can remember a few weeks ago, you weren't too hot on KO.
Was not, man.
Like, you could care less what he's doing. And I can't imagine that opinion stays the same. Then just a couple of thoughts I have on him. The shirts, Goldust, he had a Stardust shirt on. Man, it harkens back to when Cody fought Seth and Seth wore the polka dots. That was the Hell in a Cell with the
Hell in a Cell,
right? I love when heels do stuff like that to really pick at Seth wearing the Shield gear when he had that one-on-one with Roman. But the other point, I'm a huge Triple H guy. Triple H, Shawn Michaels. I got posters of him hanging in this room. like my heart breaks for Hunter because I know
Yes.
he wants to, he's that net. I can't imagine that ever goes away. We hear interviews from these guys all the time where they talk about how much they miss what they're doing, but they know, like Taker talks about how his body can't do it anymore, and how that's the only thing that holds him back is the fact that like his body can't do it the level that he wants to do it at. And I can't imagine Hunter being in that physical altercation and not thinking of, because we've established he's got one of the best creative minds now that he's been uncaged with Vince taking off. There's got to be, his mind must be racing in a million different directions of where he could take this thing with Kevin, how he could be a part of it. And
well, but even to that point, Chris, like, this is all planned. Like, none of this is off the cuff.
Sure.
So you look at Orton going out to a regular power driver. We ain't seen Orton in weeks. And just for them to double back and KO to hit Cody with a package power driver, he's got to be gone for a while. So that means that when he hit Orton with the power driver, the plan was going to be, and then when we hit Cody with it. So I say it's part of the plan because there was a reason why. I don't think Triple H just got lost in the moment and decided to get physical with Kevin Owens.
Sure.
I think that's part of it. So now, do we see Kevin Owens lay out Triple H? Because we know Triple H loves Kevin. This is not in a match. We're not getting a Triple H and Kevin Owens match. We know that much. But where is the physicality? Even if it is he's left laying and we don't see the physicality.
That's what I was getting ready to say. Are we going to get something a la Jade where we just see Hunter's body and maybe KO standing over it or something like that?
Right?
Yeah.
So where they can go with it is tremendous. I absolutely think Kevin Owens is going to take this Winged Eagle belt and go. His tweet earlier today, which is, I got to read it, which is fantastic. I haven't been on social media much in the last few days. I've been kind of busy, but I did see that. He's taking the spot of Cody on the house shows that Cody is no longer going to be on, which that is awesome too for Cody. Cody's been running hard. And yeah, they don't work house shows every weekend. Yeah, they're not working 220 days a week like they used to, or a year like they used to. But Cody's been running hard. So hopefully for him, however long this storyline is, if it's a month he's off TV, if it's a couple months if he's off TV, hopefully he's getting a chance to kind of just like relax and chill out. Like, hey man, job well done. We'll see you toward the build of Mania, because you can't shit on the package power bomb or power driver and have him back in 2 weeks.
No,
you can't. He's got to be gone for a while.
AW.
Man, don't get me started. Don't get me started. I said we were watching Raw, and what spot was it? It may have been the package. I think they replayed it, which looked tremendous, perfectly done. You could even see KO wiping his hands on his sides before he does the move so his hands don't slip. Ultimate professional. But Matt made a comment, and he's like, man, like, they really made the power driver like a devastating move. I said, Matt, because it is. But this is how you get the mileage out of things that you do. Yeah. And I not to make this an AEW versus WWE thing, but I go back to Ospreay's last match where he takes the tombstone from inside the ring to outside the ring. He takes the brainbuster on the top turnbuckle, and he's back wrestling the next week.
And won.
We get a power driver from Orton. Orton's out for weeks and weeks and weeks. We'll see how long Cody's out for. But Triple H getting involved I thought was fantastic. But I am so excited to see what this run looks like for Kevin Owens, because Kevin is going to say, I am the champion. He's also going to say, your favorite cheated.
I just want to know, though, like, I have never, in the 20 years I've been watching wrestling, 20 plus years of watching wrestling, I've never seen a referee count on the outside of the ring.
Yeah, it was, it almost looked like he was going to pull himself in, and then, like, I don't know if he maybe realized his body was going to block the camera, or he just didn't have the strength to pull himself in there. If that was story based, then, and that's grounds for, because I'm seeing tweets and stuff like that, right? Like the referee has to be in the ring in control, and they're, he's on the floor. I'm seeing people kind of post stuff like that. I mean, so if that's part of the story and that's the reason he cheated, then yeah, that makes sense. But to me, it looked like he tried to get in the ring.
but that just gives him something else
Yep.
to complain about.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because I don't think I've ever seen that either. I don't think I've ever seen that in a one-on-one,
Yes.
no DQ, no holds match.
Right, exactly.
So Kevin's tweet was, boss. Okay, now let's rewind. So there was a photo. If you're watching on YouTube, I'll show it to you. There was a photo of that is Cody Rhodes' body with Kevin Owens' face on it. Shout out to the legend Kevin Owens. He says, boss, now that I have your attention, I have great news for you all. I am proud to announce that I will be competing in my first match as your new true WWE champion on this year's holiday loop. Then he puts in parentheses, that's a term people in the business use that refers to a string of consecutive shows in different cities over a short period of time.
No, he didn't.
Starting in Jacksonville on the 26th, followed by 3 more shows in Florida, and then one in Detroit for some reason. Be there to witness history.
Hold on.
Hey. Detroit every year. Come on, KO.
Oh, the Raw crew has shows too. Whatever. Incredible tweet. So I completely apologize to Kevin Owens for saying that I was not wanting another heel run from you. That's my fault. My bad. I thought you were going to go with the generic, I'm just a heel and I hate everybody that we've seen from you before, and I'm a prize fighter. This ain't it. So kudos to everybody involved with what they did on Saturday, what they continue to do. I joked earlier about, hey, raise Cody's jersey to the rafters. It's over. Legend, et cetera, et cetera. I do have a question. I do have a fun question. If this was legit, so say wrestling is a shoot, but it's not a shoot, it's a work shoot. And say Cody broke his neck in this, or he got hit with the package powerbomb and he legit can't wrestle anymore. Where does Cody rank? Where does he finish in the history of wrestling in WWE if we have seen the last of Cody Rhodes and he went out the way he went out?
First off, I thought that question was going in a different direction. I thought you were about to say if it was.
If you're ready, go ahead. If not, I'll kind of.
I don't know the answer to that. I thought you was about to say if Cody was really hurt, how would I feel that KO still lost? I thought you was about to go that way with it. That
would have been a horrible question.
That would have been horrible. That's why I was like, wow, hold on.
Sheesh.
This is hard because this is where the fan Rhodesia and then the gimmick Rhodesia kind of is battling with this answer. I want to say that he would be considered a legend. He would be, his legacy will be there. But I also have to think back on, I guess maybe this would be kind of, I'll answer this short and sweet. He would be a legend in the sense of, I think of like first round Hall of Fame ballots. Like when you think about major sports, is this person going to go in their first possible year? And I believe Cody will do that. So if Cody was to end today, I do think that he would be able to be first ballot Hall of Fame. I would want, though, more of him being a top guy, being the face. And that could just be like another year, and then that would solidify it. Something like with Roman, for me, his 4 years alone, no, that doesn't make him a legend in that sense, is what he did in those 4 years. So I guess to answer the question flat out, Cody, yes, he would be first ballot Hall of Famer, but I will say that I would want him to do a little bit more. And again, that is just purely being more of a face, having more people excited to watch wrestling and caring about him.
When I think about it, I think you got to look at Cody as a whole. Let's just take some of the greats. Stone Cold got clipped from WCW, came to WWE, and made a path there that was very successful, but didn't leave WWE until the whole took my ball, went home thing. The Rock came in. They brought him in as the young Rocky Maivia, those blue straps, and he just was...
Oh, that's Blue Chipper right there.
Yeah, just green as all get out, but he found his path. Put him with the Nation, he found his path within the WWE. Cody came in, and I don't think anyone looked at him as the guy. No one looked at him as the guy. I don't think you could say that you looked at him as the guy. You can't say you looked at him as the guy. I mean, we always thought great mid-card dude, great for Intercontinental Championships, great to have good matches, but no one looked at him at that level, and like he made the choice to go. He didn't get sent packing. They would have kept paying him millions of dollars, and he could have coasted by in a career where we'd have just been like, meh. But he would have been fine with that. I mean, boy, this is going to sound a la Miz. Like, Miz is making good money, has a great life, has a great place in the company, and that could have been Cody's path too. He left, blazed the trail on the indies, created a company that gave us as wrestling fans, or helped create a company that gave us as wrestling fans like what we needed when we all feel like it was at its worst. Like, someone threw a challenge, you can't put 10K in that building. Him and those other guys got together, they put 10K in that building, and you were forced to realize that he was something special. His path while he was building that company up was something special. They wanted him back. When the time came, they wanted him back. And he talked about in that interview, I don't know if you've seen it, where Vince came to his home and real
him and
gangster
Richard
movie, slid the paper across the table. This is how much I'm willing to pay you. This is the only guarantee I'm making. He doesn't say he was guaranteed title shots or anything like that. No. He was guaranteed money, and his match with Seth at WrestleMania.
So with all that being said, where do you put him if his career was over today?
Oh man, top 5.
Top of 5. All time?
Yeah.
I'll probably have him in my top 10.
And so if we're having that conversation, he would crack a lot of people's top 3. He would. I would compare it to Biggie. When Biggie got killed way too soon, right? Taken from us from hip hop. Biggie never had a chance to fall off.
I was with you. I thought
I'm like, what is we talking about? We done killed off Cody. We killed off Big E. I'm like, what's happening right now?
Yeah, but Big E's dead to me, just like Kofi and Xavier Woods said a couple weeks ago. That locker room needs to figure it out. I don't like that.
I got my Biggie Pop right over here to my right.
You said Christopher Wallace.
Life after death Funko.
Yes, Christopher Wallace, a.k.a. Notorious B.I.G., a.k.a. got killed by Puffy too.
The diddler.
Biggie never had a chance to fall off. Biggie came in hot and smoked it. 2 albums done, incredible stuff. Look at if DMX would have passed away after his first 2 albums. He's looked at as the GOAT probably on a lot of people's lists. If Snoop dies after Doggy Style, he is cemented in West Coast and forever that nobody is touching Snoop Dogg because of look at what he did. Same thing with, Dre with the Chronic. I can go on and on and on. But I think with Cody, he would have left, and of course, God forbid he ever gets hurt like this where this is a conversation. But he is at a point where he can't get any bigger as a babyface. So unless his next move is this Homelander heel persona gimmick that I am clamoring for when the time is right, yes, he could be as big as he is now for who knows how many more years, but he is what he is when it comes to a babyface, and that is the top draw in WWE as a babyface. One of the hardest things you can do in the business.
I'm sorry to keep jumping. So you don't think that based off what you just said about him and the babyface that he is and everything, that he's not their path for him is not the John Cena path?
I think he's there already is what I'm saying.
But he never went away from that. Cena never really went away from being the hero, the man of the people, the baby kisser. Do you see Cody going away from that to this home?
I do,
that you want?
Because I think Hunter.
Well,
Vince wouldn't have did that, but I think
Cena wanted to turn heel. I think the story, and that's why I say when it's time. That's going to be up to them when it's time. Who knows if they say, hey, as soon as these metrics start dipping a little bit, all right, let's go. Maybe they say, well, we already know what the plan is. We already know come WrestleMania 43, this is what we're looking at. I think they'll figure that out. But I think the story possibility is way too good. And I think the popularity of WWE would be even higher with a heel Cody Rhodes if you tell the right story and if you have his successor. They got to find that because you can't just turn him heel and then have everything as is on the babyface side because you got to replace them if you do that. Just like they have replacements for Roman when Roman got with Heyman. But I do think I would be shocked and irritated and disgusted if we do not get this heel run for Cody Rhodes.
Question.
Because he's a heel. He knows he's a heel.
Question. We keep talking about this Homelander thing. Could the boys, could they sue WWE if he turns into the ultimate Homelander, Cody Rhodes,
Hell
for the
no.
likeness?
Absolutely not. Because they probably got it from Cody.
Out of his eyes.
They saw it all before we did. You kidding me? They saw him. He was in AEW. It's like, oh, I got this.
To your point, Matt, like history
Yeah.
does tell us that there's big money in a heel turn too, from a top baby face. That NWO, nothing hotter. I got a whole shelf over here of NWO Funko, and so yeah, I mean, their merch is still top merch, I'm sure.
Yeah. And they're so hot that, you know, E would say they can't afford to do it. Yes, they can. They can afford to do it because if they got, let me take that away. Let me take that back. I was going to say if they got Cody over like that, Cody also got himself over. He was put in a position. He ran with it. He's still running with it. But if I just like, I'm starting to see some of the cracks. Like, I don't know if it's intentional. I'm just going to assume with WWE, everything we see on their television is intentional because that's just how incredible their storytelling's been. But you got Jesse Ventura telling me Cody Rhodes is not a good guy.
Mm-hmm.
And then Cody Rhodes cheats to win.
Mm-hmm.
That is clear to me that, okay, I'm sitting there. If I was the biggest Cody fan in the world, you could sit there and say, damn, you know what? He may be right.
Well, no, if you're
Damn,
a biggest
Cody didn't
Cody
have to
fan,
use
you
that.
wouldn't say that.
He didn't have to
but
use that chair.
Borderline Cody fan, you probably be like, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then we did get a few you deserve it chants when he was getting stretchered out. Now, yeah, I know they were in Long Island, but he still got some you deserve it chants.
And you know, I can't stand a Cody, but that's out of line. That is out of line.
So you
deserve it.
Can't. So then you can't stand Cody, huh?
I don't even know what that means, but right.
Yeah, boy,
but I would never chant. You deserve it.
Haters, you Cody haters.
I would never cheer. You deserve it. I would never do that.
I'm devastated that E is not here because this is 179, right?
Yeah.
Yep, sure is. 42 minutes in.
178 episodes. We've talked a lot about bloodlines. Let me tell you something. There's a bloodline right here in this chat and on this pod that E has stood up the tyranny of this bloodline, the Richie Riches.
Wow.
$60,000 million to go see WrestleMania.
$60,000 million.
And you know what? I thought today was going to be a great day because Big Daddy E
you're
not going to stand alone anymore. I said it.
I think I'm getting some
I
static.
said it.
I think getting some static here.
Yeah, actually at this point, I think we're good to go. Thank you, Chris, for being on the show. We appreciate you, man.
And not deal with this tyranny anymore.
You did mention Chris. You mentioned Chelsea Green earlier. Got to go for Chelsea. Yes. I am so happy for her.
Yes.
Of course, I remember her on the Indies. I remember meeting her. I think all
Starcast.
in Weekend.
Yep, Starcast.
Yep, at Starcast. And I remember this is before she was in, I think, Ring of Honor or Impact, one of the two. And I remember I was just like, you got to get to NXT. And she was like, hit him up. Tell him to hire me then. And just to see like her growth of where she is now, she has been fantastic. I said she was ready-made for WWE TV when they signed her. And to see her get the type of reaction she got when she is a full-fledged heel, there is nothing presented on television that you should remotely like Chelsea Green. And for her to get a pop like she did, and she's been getting those pops over the last, few months or so, but for her to get that type of reaction when there is nothing about your character that people should cheer speaks volumes to the respect and I think an adulation that the crowd has for her. It's going to be interesting to see if she can turn that crowd back to being, healing her and booing her, yeah. But tremendous.
You look at all the people that got clipped just before Vince got the door, to everyone that Hunter has brought back. I would say she's up there with the biggest impact of her rehire. I think Naya's up there as well. I mean, she made the most of her return. I out of all of them, I'd say those two for sure.
Well, I think Nia's
I'm not
completely
high on
different.
everybody he brought back, but those two you can't help but Nia's dominance, how they've built her, and Chelsea's just her heel work is awesome. I guess that's the best thing I could say about it.
I agree with that. I think Nia is a whole different person. Like the first Nia had a chip on her shoulder. She was The Rock's cousin. And there was so much that she probably had to prove to herself, to them. And then she got let go and she came back. She looks the same. All that's still the same, but it's something different. It's something about her that she said, hey, I know who I am, and I'm going to just show it, and we feel it. And nothing has changed in that regard, but it's like the chip is gone. She used that to empower her to be great. Chelsea is just something else. And it doesn't make it any better or worse that she's beautiful. So when you say that like she does everything that like you should not be wanting her to do, she's a terrible friend. But she's just beautiful when she does it. I mean, let's be honest. And then you have Piper, who's always representing for her. But I saw something when she said, I've been doing this for 10 years to be an overnight, or 20 years, whatever year she put on it, to be an overnight success. And it's just like, when you hear that, and you hear the amount of years is put into this, and you see where she gets her injuries and how she bounced back and how she reinvent her character, like, to anybody who's new watching wrestling and probably kind of don't follow along, they probably like, well, who is this woman? Not knowing how talented, how smart she is in her brain. Like, I'm so happy that she's getting it. My only worry, my only concern, and I mentioned this a few episodes ago, is I'm so worried about how this US championship and this IC championship is going to play out. And I am worried that one of them is gonna just fall by the wayside. I think she has enough umph. I think she has enough excitement around her to keep it going. But I'm just really, really scared having all these two titles. How is that going to look for the fans to fall in love with? Because Chelsea's a heel that we all love, then who's going to get the IC championship? You would think maybe a face, but Chelsea is the person getting the cheers. So my only worry, my only concern, and I know we'll get there in some weeks, is I don't want her reign with this championship to be in a shadow of somebody else.
Well, it wouldn't be a shadow because it's made for the mid card, quote unquote, and the IC belt is on Raw, so you're on two different brands.
As of now, I mean, remember with that open thingy,
they're not going to put both titles on the same brand,
right? I get that, but I'm talking about just in general, my excitement for a champion.
Tony
I don't want it to be like, because again, when they both came out, like boom, boom, it was almost like, here you go, women. I'm giving you more titles, and it almost felt like a concession award. But
way to piss on Chelsea's moment.
No, I'm not saying that at all.
Are you fucking kidding me?
I'm saying quite the opposite of that.
God bless,
I said I don't want her.
I know, but then you just went on a diatribe about how.
No, you called her the mid-carder. You mean the mid-card title, not her. She's not a mid-carder.
It is
the mid-card title.
That's what it is.
Yeah, I'm just saying that I'm so happy. She's well deserved this. I just don't want it to be now. She's a U.S. champion there, and then you got the IC champion, and then like which championship? Again, it goes back to all these multiple championships. You got to be careful, because then it can just be just like another championship and not have the meaning to it. We talk about the moves that they do, the power driver package, whatever you call it. That's impactful, and they're making that important. Are they going to make these titles important? Because in my mind, when I go back to look at the end of 24, early 25, there was 2 tournaments to give these women championships. Which that's what you should do, the tournament. But to me, I just don't want it to fall flat in the event that 6 months from now, you don't care about the IC Women's Champion or the U.S. Women's Championship.
I think that's fair from a sense that, like, we've seen what's happened with the women's tag titles. And I don't think any of us can sit here and say, wow, those really changed the game. I don't think in the WWE those titles have been taken seriously. People have walked because they haven't been taken seriously. Careers have ended. Fences, were burned and have since been mended in some cases. But I think that's fair. But I also think there's great stories to be told, and something those titles are going to help you care about those stories. Piper turns and takes that from her down the line, right? Like maybe that you build some animosity there. I think there's good stories to be told, and if they do it right, which, I mean, they've built up a lot of equity with doing things right in everyone's eyes that's a super fan like us over the last few years. So try to be positive.
Yep. Speaking of tournaments, my guy Yusuf. Yusuf. Tagged me on Twitter earlier. Let me see what time this tweet was done. I don't have the time in front of me, but whatever you were smoking on, Yusuf, whenever we meet, my good man, I need you to give me some. Whatever you were drinking, when you send me this tweet, my good man, I need some of that. Yusuf says, Zoe should be the first IC champion.
Okay, let's go.
As she is a top 3 female wrestler in the company right now. Now, granted, he did use the gif of Drewski running away because he knew he didn't say some crazy shit. I'm a fan of Zoe when she gets sleep. Y'all know that.
Stop. We're not about to come on here and disrespect that woman. She
Right,
showed you some excitement, some passion on Raw this last
She
Raw.
did.
She was like, I'm gonna virgin. So I get it. I'm drinking whatever Yusuf is drinking. She's a good wrestler.
He said she is a top 3 female wrestler in the company right now.
She's a good
So
wrestler.
okay, so let's play the game.
Okay.
Without even thinking.
Okay.
Rhea Ripley, Bianca Belair, Zoe Stark. Is that what you're telling me?
I think that might be
Is that what you're telling me?
hyperbole. I think that might be the hyperbole that he was trying to get on the show for today. That's what it is. It's a hyperbole. Let's go with that.
Hell no. No. Did you watch Monday Night Raw? We're probably getting there, but no.
Zoe showed her
She
intensity.
should go to the sleep and lung clinic and get checked.
Oh
for
my
sleep
God,
apnea. That's
stop.
what she should do.
See, y'all are not about to do that to her. Y'all are not about to do that to her.
What did Kendrick say? I like Drake with the melodies. I don't like Drake when he talk tough.
When we act tough.
When he act tough. I like Zoe when she gets some sleep. I don't like Zoe when
You
she's
know what?
unrested.
Let's go to the next one.
I could have also went with he said, to be fair, he said WWE because I could go NXT. And there is 5 women in NXT that will smoke the boots off of Zoe. And I like Zoe. That's the thing. But to say she is a top 3 wrestler, Yusuf, brother, you know I love you, man. But damn, that may be one. He has had some bad takes in the past. That may be the worst take ever uttered on the TFW podcast in 149 episodes.
But you saying
You
top 3?
gunshot
He
that
he
thing?
got me. He got me at the top 3. He kind of got me at the top 3, like how y'all got me with Cody in the top 5. But I digressed here. But top 3, I'm a roll with Yusuf because that's how we do on this show. We have to take sides. There's like nobody on the fence. I'm down with Yusuf. Let's go.
EO,
Oh, EO is better than Zoe.
are you kidding me?
Sorry. Oh, wait, no. Stop. Okay, with
Charlotte Flair.
She's not there right now. She ain't there right now.
She's under contract.
He meant, you know what? I think he said top 3 women on Raw, the Raw show this past Raw.
Okay, let's read it again. Zoe should be the first IC champion, and she's a top 3 female wrestler in the company right now.
Ooh, okay, got it.
Drewski running GIF. Anyway, hey man, whatever you had, I hope you're back from it. That trip you must have had was incredible. I'm hoping you're good. Send me a tweet after the show and make sure that you're good, man.
Okay. Before we leave here, I do see so much. Top 3 for sure is hyperbole right there, but I do see a lot of potential in her. I like how she looks. I like how strong she is. I think she has the potential to be a strong woman there. They have a few really top strong women, but she has the potential. I just don't want y'all to like make her sound like she's a piece of crap. I'm like, she's
Never
just
said
like
that. I'm a fan of. I've been a fan of Zoe. I was on this show a year ago.
Yep.
When she had her so let's not.
And when she was at the tryouts, and she's like, "Nah, you better eat, sleep, and breathe this." Like,
yes,
she just has a lot of potential. And
but just say top 3. Come on, dude. If he would have said top 10, I may have had an issue with the top 10. So to say top 3,
maybe. Oh, I get it. Top 3 of the PFC. Boom. There we go.
You said it, not me. Because I told you I would never utter those words on
What's
this
that stand
podcast
for
ever
again,
again.
Rhodesia? What's that
Who
stand for?
knows?
Huh?
Pure Fusion Collective.
Collection.
There you go. Collection. There you go. Let's talk about we don't have to stay long on it, but I was kind of surprised when Drew came out and said that he's about to be the Bloodline hunter.
Oh.
I didn't see that happening. I thought, okay, we're doing the Sammy thing just to get us to Saturday night's main event. When that man said 1 down, what did he say, 4 to go? I was
He
like, oh
said something
shit.
like that. Well, no, homeboy,
Yo.
you don't know how long that bloodline is. You got a lot to go.
Thoughts?
I'm here for it. I'm sorry, before you dive into it, I'm sure you've seen it. You guys may have even talked about it. You talk about the conflict between KO and Cody stems from Cody helping Roman.
Yep.
Drew comes back. He's got conflict with Sammy and Jay for helping Roman. Like all these top stories, Punk gets his favor for helping Roman.
Yep.
Seth won't help because it's Roman.
Yep.
Everything is tied into, every major story is tied into one arc.
Bravo to him.
It's built around Roman.
Mm-hmm.
And Drew has proven that he is something special. Like his work over the last, 2-3 years, out of this world.
Another person that kind of came back and like is a whole different person. I mean, for Drew is like for sure a completely looking different person. Everything about Drew is like he went and became enlightened. Like he left as this little boy and came back as a grown ass man with a whole life worth of experiences. I mean, it's night and day.
And that goes back to what you were saying about Chelsea making a comment about 10 years being overnight success. That's Drew.
Yeah,
we know his story, right? We know. I remember being at Mania weekend and seeing him in indie shows and him working 4 indie shows a day. Yeah. These are wrestling matches. These ain't autograph signings. He's working these matches to get his name out there, perfect his craft, et cetera, et cetera. So to see where he's at now, of course, it's gonna be interesting to see because it feels like there is just so many combustible elements.
Yeah.
Which is right now with the entire company with the storylines, and they all interweave with other ones. Like case in point, it was beautifully shot. So we get a backstage after Seth tells Punk, like, I think it was Punk, right? No, it was Drew. When Seth tells Drew, like, no, man, like, this isn't we cool because we got a common enemy. Like, those are my friends that, like, you beat up. Like, so I'm kind of off you right now. They go back to a backstage after that, and you see Drew
following him,
approaching, and then Sammy stops him. Like, even like stuff like that. Yeah. You're like, yo, they are really, really paying attention to like these little details, and it's fantastic, man. It's great. They're going to with 2 weeks now, I guess, right? Or 2 Raw shows. They did a double taping on Raw this past Monday, so I'm sure spoilers are out there everywhere.
That's
but
why I've been staying off of X.
Yeah, yep. So I think it's 2 Raws now. Will we get January 6th? Okay. So we got Solo versus Roman. Oof. We got Punk versus Rollins. And I'll give a spoiler because I know it.
No, don't do that. I'm going to take my headphones off.
Yeah, take your headphones off if you want. Liv versus Rhea is also going to be happening
still hear it.
at that Raw show. Shows will be absolutely stacked. 100%. Yes. Let's start with Solo and Roman. Is there a world where Roman Reigns does not beat Solo and get his Ulafala back?
Before we get into it, because I don't know if you're going to go there or not. I don't know what we will or won't cover. But again, this is a shout out to E. LA Knight, locker room interview, talks about he don't care about Roman's red necklace. Shout out to the red necklace.
I said that when he said it on SmackDown, right? I told Rhodesia, I said, I'm willing to bet you LA Knight may be the biggest TFW pod fan.
Gotta be.
And he's just giving us these little necklace. He said the red necklace. He throws out 3 the hard way as much as he can. Yep. LA Knight, Mr. Knight, we appreciate you. You know that. Actually, we haven't hit his drop in a while. Let me see if I can find his drop. You guys talk while I try to find this damn drop.
Before we even talk about, well, no, I guess we'll get to that. Solo Roman. There is an absolute world where Roman does not win. Any given Sunday, right? Any given wrestling match with Samoans. So, yes. I'm going to just leave it at that because I always told you that I'm not going to ever book the Bloodline because I'm going to truly appreciate what we're getting on TV.
I didn't ask you to book. I just asked a question.
Yes. To answer your question, yes, there is a world.
So you're saying there is a world
where Roman will not win the Ulafala on Netflix on January 6th.
Yeah, I think there's a world where he doesn't come away with it as well.
Wow.
Because how do you... like she said, she doesn't want to book it anymore because it's too hard. It's too hard to figure out.
Too high
And then
level
if you
for me.
book it, you're usually pretty right and accurate and spoil everything for me. That's why
My bad, man. I was about to say this
I
one.
don't do pods before premium live events anymore because you see things coming a mile away. But I would say, then how do we get to some of the matches that you're looking forward to? Where do we? I guess win or lose, you could still get to Roman and Jacob, but I don't know. I feel like it would make more sense if he came away with it.
Well, who came away with
Solo
it?
came away with it.
Solo came away with it.
And then I'm done with you, Jacob. Handle this.
I like that.
Or
But then you make, well, one, if you do that, you make Jacob and Roman seem less than. Right? That's number one. Number two, you can't get to Jacob and Roman until Jacob beats the dog shit out of Solo. And Solo gets back with the original bloodline.
So that's how you think we're gonna get there? Is Jacob is gonna?
He has to.
So
The whole "I love you" Solo is a thing, so that man can say "I loved you" Solo. That is a thing that is happening
for sure, because they make
someone-
it say it every time.
And let's think about this. Solo said months ago, if Roman Reigns, I can't remember his exact words, but he basically said, I have no problem acknowledging Roman Reigns. Either he said if he beats me for the Ulafala or if he takes the Ulafala. He said that. Solo, if we were just to strip everything away, we talk about, baby faces and heels and how wrestling and storytelling is so good if every heel has a slither of truth, et cetera, et cetera. Roman is still a heel right now. He can't apologize. He never apologized to Jay.
Mm-mm.
He still just wants the power. Solo called him out and said, there he is. You don't care about anybody else. You just care about the power and being the head of the table. So we have that part. You look at Solo. All Solo is trying to do is protect the family. Solo ain't treating his people bad. All he's saying is like, I'm the next up. Y'all told me I was the next up.
That's true.
Losing has consequences. I'm the guy now. I'm the one protecting the family. Acknowledge me. There is nothing hillish about that. We look at it as a hill because of their tactics behind it. He's just trying to protect his family.
That's
so I
for
think
sure.
what you can do when you get to the point of having this match, because this has to end on January 6th. And when I say this, I'm talking about this part of the story of the Ulafala. Because if Roman doesn't get it now, when does he get it and why does he get it? I think it lacks the impact. The only way he doesn't get it is if he decides the Ulafala is not as important as saving somebody or something else. And then we veer off into that story. I don't know what that could be, though, in the next 3 weeks.
Here's my only worry. Everything you said makes so much sense. But if Solo loses, and this is me looking at it from my own fandom, if Solo loses the Ulafala, Solo has had like a pretty losing record, let's be completely honest. So to me, if he loses it, I know how you said Roman and Jacob their stock kind of goes down if Roman loses, but I feel like Solo stock will go down even more if he loses the Ulafala. Only because I have a feeling like in my head, every time I see Solo, like he loses all his matches unless he has the bloodline helping him. Same thing with Roman, completely different though to me. But for me, I just feel like Solo stock would completely come down way more than what Roman stock would come down. But everything you said makes sense. For me, I don't understand, or I wouldn't be able to then still be behind Solo, because then that would probably make Solo what? A real bad guy at that point, based off of what you're saying. If Solo loses, is he still a bad guy, or is that the beginnings of maybe him getting beat up by Jacob because you lost for the last time? Again, I'm over it, and then he turns face. Like, what is your thinking there? If Solo loses immediately,
Well, if he loses, the story is back on Roman having the Ulafala.
Okay.
That's the main story.
mm-hmm.
Then we just got to tune into SmackDown or the Raw to see the aftermath of how Bloodline 2.0 reacts.
But where would you put Solo at? Where would be next for Solo at that point?
Oh, he's got to figure that out. And him saying, no, I say it like that, him saying that, meaning he's got to get his troops back together, or maybe Jacob's over it. because you no longer have the Ulafala. So I don't have a connection to you anymore. Like, what are we doing here? Because we're not going to have another match with the Ulafala.
Yeah,
like that's not a thing.
Right.
So I think that's where the big pieces come. Because, Chris, to your point, I'm still holding out hope we get Rock and Roman at Mania. I really am. But say if we don't, you got Jacob and Roman. We got Punk and Roman. I don't know if they run back Seth and Roman in the next 90 days or so, but with all these specials coming up, I mean, Roman's going to be in the ring. So you got some matches. You got some matches. So that's what I see from this.
Yeah. And to your point that, we've all kind of just been on this ride and enjoying it thoroughly. And we look at Roman as the face, but he's not really exhibiting face behaviors. I mean, the most face thing we got from him since he's been back is that yeet. When
right?
Jay said, look, this is what it is. Can you live with that? Yeet. But that's kind of been the only crowd pleasing other than his presence.
Hey, you did a really good yeet.
Which, what's that?
You did a really good yeet.
Yeet.
I like that. We should sound clip that.
Put that in the short. But besides his aura and just him coming back and the way he commands a room, like what has been, there's not the hug, there's not the embrace, there wasn't the chase of Jay that we thought we were going to get. He had very little to do with that. Jay was kind of the one who came and said, look, man, I'm here for my family, but on my terms. And Roman accepted those terms. Like, are we gonna get like a full true face Roman?
And maybe not. And that's also the fun part. Because to your point, he's the exact same person.
Yeah, and everyone keeps pointing it out. Like, see, he just wants the power. He just wants.
Yep.
He just wants the things that make him powerful. The Ulafalas, the championships. He does not care how he gets there. And I'm seeing that.
So then, so that's why I said for him to not have it, it's got to be for someone or something, right? Like, does he not take the Ulafala to protect one of his bloodline family members? But you also can tell that story after he gets the Ulafala, and then that's how we just don't see it again. Yeah. So I mean, they can play with it, but I'm excited for that match. Of course, that's gonna be the main event: Punk versus Rollins. This is what it was. This is what it was when Matt made a comment watching Raw surrounding they just restored the feeling. We were talking about the pull apart brawl between Punk and Seth. And I was saying that's how you do business. Yeah. These guys have been feuding for a long time, but it's been a year now. They finally put hands on each other. It should be a pull apart brawl numerous times through the crowd, in the ring, up the ramp, because that is what the situation calls for. Not to compare AEW. I remember there was a brawl about 6 months ago, and I think it was including MJF, and they were brawling. Backstage, I mean, they were going. And I'm like, they're doing this just to set up a match for next week. And I'll be damned, they come back from commercial break, they showed a graphic. And I'm like, no, that wasn't enough. You can't just throw in a hard brawl and then make it seem like, oh, man, this feud is really on fire. Here's the match. No, you have to lead up to that. And then the brawl is damn near the payoff to get to the match. It can't be all of it. And I thought they did an awesome job with it. I thought the promos were great before the brawl. I do think it felt like CM Punk was trying to get booed on Raw. Like his cadence, some of the things he was saying, it's like he wasn't trying to get cheered. I thought that was interesting.
As a Punk promo goes, I'm glad you brought it up because it wasn't one of his best. Mm-mm. Punk, the thing that makes Punk so special is his promo. He is like, he's up there in my mind with a Paul Heyman. As far as like his ability to control the room with the microphone, the things he says, he was stumbling over some things. He was like, "Come on, guys, Boston, Beantown." When has Punk ever tried to,
Yeah.
like? I think of an old clip, and I'm this is old election time, way back when Jeb Bush was running, and you can look it up on YouTube. But Jeb Bush said something and like that he wanted to do on his candidacy, and nobody clapped, no applause, no one cared, and Jeb Bush was like, please clap. Like he literally said, please clap, and I felt like Punk was kind of begging for the crowd to give him something, and I definitely feel like there were some shots in there towards Hangman. I don't know if you've seen that drama where he did an interview where he's like, "Don't say moveset."
Yeah.
Like I feel like he was trying to channel some of that, and I was out until the break apart brawl. Seth saved that promo to me, coming down and saying he want to see things from a different perspective, but nope,
That
you're
was
still
good.
up. I would have said it, but I
Mhm.
don't know what we can or can't say here. But like that was kind of that, and the brawl is what saved that promo for me. And I don't usually say that about Punk. I'm usually very excited to see him come to the ring and take that microphone and do what he does with it.
My feeling on the Punk promo was me thinking that he was just out there talking from his spirit. Like I know certain people have the luxury and the liberties to take on their actual promo in the ring, and it just felt like Punk was just that was it. He went out there and he was just talking. And in order to do that effectively, or for me at least to do that effectively, you have to have someone else to kind of go back and forth with. So when you're doing that and the other person is the crowd, that is a whole different kind of situation. So I thought it was off. Now it could be off because he's trying to get some booze. I don't know what it is that he's trying to pander to the crowd and say, yeah, in Boston, Beantown. I don't know. I just felt like hearing that promo, I was like, oh, this is not one of his best ones. It seems like he's just trying to do it off the top of his head. Just go out there and talk until Seth comes and interrupt you. Because how many times he's saying, before Seth come and interrupt me. Oh, before Seth come and interrupt me. It just felt like really weird to me. But the point where I thought you were about to go with Matt as far as the pull apart, back to the package power driver, I don't know how to call it. It was something relatively safe outside of when I first said when Punk jumped the barricade, be careful that you don't pull anything. It was a safe pull apart, but it looks so good. It looks so intense. And that to me is like how Matt always say you get mileage out of something.
Mm-hmm.
You're able to like have this interaction between two people that last a segment, and it's safe. What you throwing some punches. Some of them look a little bit stiff. A couple of them was there, but overall, these were just safe punches, and you still got that excitement. Your blood is racing. Chris, you just said that you came back and got back glued to the TV because of this pull away brawl. So to me, it was just like, this is how you can do wrestling to veterans, where now I am now all eyes tuned in. These guys are going at each other. And if you look at it at the end of the day, they were all safe moves. It probably was less safe when them trying to jump out of the ring and jumping in the ring, the actual getting to the actual physicality. But the physicality itself, intense, but safe. And that to me is like, that's how you take care of these people. These people, we want to have years on their lives as far as quality of life. And you get that by doing it like that versus a really, really, really tough match and then only to have another match again. And nobody cares about it.
So, 3 weeks. Who's winning?
I'm going to say Seth because I don't think that this is over for a while. And to your point, like he was maybe trying to garner some boos. I mean, Seth definitely cemented himself as a face when he told Drew, like, no, those are my friends. Like, I respect them. And so you're probably on to something where we're going to see a different version of Punk soon. And I think I'm fine with that because I think the nostalgia of his return, we're past it. Drew has made it clear that he didn't get no problems with Punk because Punk just made himself a deal, and that's what he would do. Like they kind of explained away why Drew isn't going to be dealing with Punk in his hunt for the bloodline. And so, like, yeah, I think we're going to see something new.
The protege should always beat the master. I think Seth, even though Seth really didn't get trained by Punk, and there's a whole reason why we're here, I think Seth is going to have to win. Again, that could be because how I feel about Punk, but I just don't see where and I'm just saying older guy, younger guy. I just don't see where you would have an older guy go over on the younger guy who has so many more years left to go in their career. Like, and in Punk, we know is a consummate professional in this sense, where he would take the pin for Seth. I would only imagine that he would. What he would do would be best for business as far as that. So Seth has to win, I feel like.
Or we don't get a finish. It's not going to be the main event. We damn sure knows it's going to be Solo and Roman as the main event. So if it's going to be Solo and Roman as the main event, you can get away with a count out or a DQ finish. Okay. You do not have to have a finish. You can have that be the match at the top of the first hour.
Yep, okay.
You end with Solo and Roman, and then you get a finish in that one to continue the story. So I think we'll absolutely know by the end of that match if we're getting another one anytime soon. I do think that will be the case.
I can't add much because I lagged out there. You guys froze up and you just came back. So,
no, I was just saying that I was just saying that you can get away with doing a DQ or a count out finish because it's not going to be the main event of the show. You got Roman and Solo as the main event.
And we're getting more. We're getting more of these guys. They're not doing like the old school, like, okay, well, these guys had their match at the big show. Next, who's next in line for this guy? They're telling stories. They're dragging them out a little bit longer. I shouldn't say dragging them out, but they keep it interesting for a while. I mean, Rhea Liv, Drew Punk.
They dragging. No, you.
Oh my God.
That's one we can say they're dragging, brother. That is one we can say we need to get this one done. And
Please.
I love me some Liv Morgan. I do. I love both of them. I think Liv, and she even showed on Saturday Night's Main Event, which we didn't even talk about her and Io. I thought it was a great match. It's one of Liv's best matches. And even though when she loses the belt, we could easily look back and say her title reign was a miss because it was all about Rhea and Dominic. But she's much bigger than she's ever been, so it wasn't a miss.
Yeah.
It was a hit. From a wrestling perspective, it was a miss. Because every match, it seemed like it was against Rhea for the most part. And I know we got to get the belt on Rhea, or off of Liv, I should say. But how in the hell is she number one contender again? She ain't beat nobody.
Yeah.
I'm cool with it because once again, like, hey, I'm here for the stories, and I know the matches. Like, all right, we're gonna do it. But when she said that on Raw, I was like, okay, how? But all right, I'm good because we need to get to Bianca and Rhea anyway. So
he said, keep this train going. I think you probably hit the nail on the head on my feelings about Liv, because I was gonna say before this reign of Liv, I just don't like it. It's just not it. But I think you kind of probably articulated exactly how I felt or feel. Liv for sure is more important today than she was a year ago. There is no doubt about that. But maybe you can say that her reign itself was not so good because it was only ever about one person, or in this case, of an affair over here. So for me, I'm just so over it because I told y'all before, I cannot stand it's better these last few weeks, but it was always about Dom over a guy. Why are we fighting over a guy? Like, no, you are a world champion. Stop. It's not about a guy. And that irritated me for so long. But I want this Liv and Rhea to happen so soon that it could be a pre-show of the Netflix show just to get it on so they can hurry up and switch titles. We don't even need to have it on the regular whatever time it's supposed to start. This is the pre-show. Seriously, I'm over it. So over it.
What else y'all got from Raw? You want to talk about the tag champs?
I was just well, I guess we can't get there. I was gonna just say, how the hell you go? And okay, this is like pulling the curtain back. Is this like the saying? We talk about how KO takes out Cody after the show. We talk about the backstage things. And I love all of these little nuggets that they're doing. But how the hell, last time I heard about this was Miz, how the hell you get kicked out the locker room? Like, to me, Kofi and Xavier getting kicked out. I told you Rey Mysterio is a deadbeat man, a dad, and a deadbeat man. How you gonna do that? How you gonna come out there and say, bruh, you can't come in here?
That was something.
I think it's best you find somewhere else. Yeah. I was like, damn. If a wrestler tells you I think it's best, they mean business.
Yeah.
And then they're getting interviewed about it.
And then she takes off.
And the interviewer's like, oh shit, I gotta go. This over here, guys. Oh, I think we're in for again another thing where you went from I could care less what these guys are doing or what's happening, and now locked in.
I'm locked in. Hell yeah, man. Yep.
I mean, my hope was kind of that they were going to be the team that got put up for the titles last week.
I did too.
That was kind of my hope, but they'll get there.
And they said, I mean, shout out to Royal Raiders. I'm calling them Royal Raiders.
They are that now.
That was who I.
But they are that now. The Royal Raiders are their name now. H changed it back.
I thought, okay, you're right. I'm sorry.
He changed it back.
But that's what I'm from. That's what I know them as. NJPW, Ring of Honor. That's what I know them as. They put in their work. The promo video was incredible, talking about their lives, their personal lives, and then bringing that back to championship. You want to talk about a waste of a title reign? That Judgment Day tag team, somebody needs to be dragged out in the street and shot.
Yeah.
They had the belt for like 4 months with 2 defenses. Come on, man.
Yeah.
Come on, man. And Finn had that shit on Saturday Night's Main Event.
I think
Finn always going to be dripped out the way he needs to, but that title reign was laughable.
Yeah. I think it's fair to say tag team as a whole is a big opportunity for them.
Yeah.
I do think with them putting the belts on the War Raiders, there has to be a focus on it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like there's no gimmick with the War Raiders. So like when the belts got on the Judgment Day, all right, that's storyline purposes. You made a comment about the women's tag team champions, and even those, there's not a lot of tag teams. So they're single stars put together where you're like, okay, well, hopefully they can make it work and they're popular. Like War Raiders is a tag team. What they do is tag team wrestling, and they do nothing else. So I do think there's probably going to be a nice focus on the tag team division now. Speaking of, y'all want to talk about the Penta tease?
I don't know about it.
You didn't
I guess maybe I didn't catch. Oh, is that what that vignette was?
Yes, sir.
Oh, you mean the zero?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Zero fear. Yes, sir.
Come on.
I wondered. I didn't put it together.
Yep.
Though. Come on.
Since you're bringing that up, can we? Tony Khan, you really thought my man needed some tacos or something? Some food, some lunch? Come on.
What happened? Stop. What happened? I missed it.
Yeah, I can't believe they put out that press release saying, "Oh, I didn't understand him. We, there's a language barrier."
He didn't. That wasn't real, was it?
I think it was.
Oh my god.
No way.
It was.
No way.
So we just thought he needed something to eat. You got all that money over there, and you don't have translators for these guys? Are you kidding me? If
that can't be real.
I take it all back.
That can't be real.
Not a real statement.
Yeah, that can't be real.
But from everything that I looked at, like it was a true statement that they put out.
That's nuts. But you talking about for Phoenix, right?
But yeah.
So Phoenix came out. He deleted those tweets too. Phoenix, he was giving up for those 2 days, and then somebody probably told him, "Hey man,
stop.
Put those down. Yeah, take those down." Looks like Penta was like, "Hey brother, whenever you get out your contract in 2036, come holler at me, but I gotta go. I gotta
hold
go.
Hold it down for you, but yeah.
I love you, my friend.
When I tell you, I am more excited for Penta than I have been, and this is no joke. Anybody else that has not been already at WWE. So of course I'm not counting Punk. I'm not counting who else left and came back? Naomi. So I'm not counting them. Like new blood to WWE. It's been a very long time. Penta has been somebody that I've been wanting to see in WWE for a long time. Back when Vince was running it. So all I saw with him was just like marketing dollars. And I don't get, like, I'm not a shareholder for WWE, but I just know they're going to make him the star that he should have always been. We're going to see what he has left in the ring. but I know they're going to teach him, and maybe the better word is guide him into when to do crazy spots, guide him to not do the same things in every single match. And they're going to put him in a position to where we're going to see Penta masks and gloves all over the place, which means it's a win for us because he's going to be put in a place to be successful. I cannot wait to see what they have planned for him.
You're spot on. And just let those big spots marinate. Where he's coming
yes.
from, they do these things and everybody's back up for the next thing and the next thing and the next thing and the flippy doos, right? But like you're gonna see so much more out of him because everyone who's come from over there, they've done something special with. Even I'm not a big NXT guy, but I feel like Ethan has done better for himself.
Oh yeah, he'll tell you that.
Jade's come on. I mean, they made her like $1 million. I know we have this great debate a lot of where she's at as far as in-ring talent, but you know, like everybody, I don't think anybody disagrees with E that like she's still big money. You could still tell great stories, and there have been people in the industry that we are enamored with that don't have the best movesets, the best, so someone like him that has that, they're gonna harness and bring out the absolute best in him. I bet you they got some translators.
Wow.
I gotta see if that report's real, because if it is, no effing way. I only have one prerequisite here. Y'all probably already know where this is going. Penta can do any and everything he wants to do. He could do the flippity 25 times in one match. There's only one thing that he better not do, is get anywhere near the LWO.
Well,
unless he becomes the leader and takes out Rey Mysterio, he better not touch anything to do with LWO at all.
Unless he's like the dark leader, right? Like then, okay, maybe so.
That takes the group in a different direction,
right? Yeah, so but super excited for that. I'm super pumped. I'm gonna tell you the other thing I'm pumped for too. And my assumption is only, I don't have any insider information on this, but my assumption only is Triple H saw Chad Gable and Otis like backstage and was like, oh shit, we never finished your guys' storyline. Because
go to that.
Thank you for finally putting a bow on this thing, Triple H. We've only been waiting for months. My guy Otis has been wearing his fucking free Otis shirt for months now. He's been free. And Otis is like, man, I'm wearing this until somebody remembers we still got a storyline here, and we never had to pay off for a one-on-one match like this. Yep. So shout out to Paul for remembering, seeing them backstage at Cater, like, oh shit, we do need to button that up. All right, let's cut something real quick.
Oh, tease.
God bless. What else y'all got?
That's it. That's all I got.
Yeah, I mean, did you catch the interview that Drew did with Busted Open Guys? With the Busted Open Guys,
I saw the 2-minute clip.
The big clip, the big hot topic from that. Like, thoughts?
What would he say?
I think it's a work, of course. I mean, he gave it up. He basically talked about his time away. He kind of just saw like, nobody really cares. Like, you don't really care for the wrestlers. Like, I've missed birthdays. I missed funerals. Like, I've been away from my family, and like, for what? So like, now I'm just doing what I want to do, and like, fuck everybody. Fuck you guys. Kind of.
Yeah. I mean, he talked a lot about the sacrifices over the years. He talked about being able to take this time off after the Punk match and go to the country that he's from. I don't know it off the top of my head. But talked about being able to
Glasgow,
go home.
Scotland.
Yeah, Scotland, which he very rarely gets to go to see family, friends, and stuff out of Scotland, and the sacrifices, the birthdays, the funerals, everything he's missed. And he basically just touched on, it doesn't matter. He was like, it doesn't matter if you're Steve Austin. It doesn't matter who you are. When you're gone, they forget you. You're forgotten. When you're off the TV, nobody cares. And so what is all the sacrifice for? And like Matt said, he's like, I'm taking what I want. I'm doing what I want from now on. And he like threw his mic down and walked off the set.
He walked off. He walked the fuck off.
Well, good for him.
Like sexual chocolate.
And what's crazy, I mean, Tommy Dreamer is in the shot, and he's just sitting there like,
yeah. Yep.
And Mark Henry, you can hear him in the clip I seen. You could hear Mark Henry kind of say, "There's a lot of that I agree with, but there's a little bit that I don't," and that's kind of when the clip cut out for me. But you know, we talk about how things are their best when they're rooted in realness.
Of course, man.
That was some real
hell yeah
right there, man.
It was real. But we're still going to cheer you, Drew. Good try, brother. Drew know he's loved. You know what I'm saying? Like, he knows he's loved.
But
And he didn't go
true.
out for an injury. It also would have hit a little different too if like he was out injured and like people didn't care about him. But it's not like we can have your phone number and just call you like, "Hey, Drew, you good, man? We're just checking in on you." He went out just because like he wasn't needed on TV. So he was perfectly healthy. But I loved it. But yeah, good try. We're still fighting for you when we hear that music.
No, my thoughts on that is I'm glad he said it, because whether it's a work, whether it's not a work, we know that that's wrapped up in the truth. And sometimes I come on here and I feel so bad after the show because I was critical on somebody, and it's just like, I'm not critical in that aspect. It's just because I'm a fan and this is kind of what I want to see in the wrestling that I consume. But not for one moment do I ever kind of not take or appreciate what even just the person who starts an enhancement talent. I got to use the proper words here. Enhancement talent, local legends.
Local legend.
I mean, at that point there, like I cannot even discredit even what they do because they've been doing that for years. So I'm glad he said it because they're probably going to get a lot of views or a lot of eyeballs on it. And people need to hear it because we know in the internet world, there'd be some just mean ass people for no reason. And I know we can't change them all, but if maybe one person heard that and they're like, "Oh, okay, maybe that's real," then maybe we can grow from that. I don't want to get all deep on that aspect, but like this world is kind of fucked up. And if you can get some realness coming from them, from somebody who's hot and special, hey, I'm happy for him.
I forgot to ask you, Bush, you brought up, you had maybe a scathing comment on YouTube.
Uh-oh.
From, I think, last week's episode or 2 weeks ago.
I don't know.
And you basically said you would put the CM Punk Drew McIntyre storyline, you say one of the best in history? Or up against any other storyline in history?
I think what I said is you put it in. Man, it makes me want to go and look it up. But basically, you said like a top 3 feud of 2024.
Yeah.
And I said there needs to be a conversation about. I didn't mean it in a scathing way, so don't take it that way. I said there needs to be a conversation of where it lands in history, because the greatest feuds make us feel things, and they can go on for a while. I mean, Edge Cena, Randy Orton Cena, Bret Austin, Bret Shawn, like Hogan Sting, like all these great feuds. They didn't flub the ending like Hogan Sting, but you get what I'm saying with those feuds. I mean, this story went for well over a year, if I'm not mistaken. They were injured, and they still managed to come on TV and make you care about the build up to that moment. And those 3 matches, to me, the only one I'm somewhere in the middle on was Seth being the special referee. That match, I think we can all agree, like it wasn't everything that we hoped it would be, but they still went out and put on a show, and I love that feud. I think Drew shined in that feud. I think Punk shined in that feud, and it's up there with me with great stories. And so all I'm saying is it needs to be looked at overall in the grand scheme of things as one of the best stories ever told in the industry.
That's pretty deep. I would say in 2024, besides the first quarter-ish, right after first quarter-ish, we had the ending of the Bloodline, or Endgame, we should say, Roman Cody. Outside of that, all we really did have, I thought that you could really sink your teeth into, was the Judgment Day and, to your point, Drew and Seth. So I completely agree with you on that. I think some more years can go by, and then I'll come back to this and see how I feel about it. But for sure, the Hell in a Cell match, like, wow, like that's gonna be. I talk about the gold ball memories. Like that's a gold ball memory to me, that match, and how gruesome in a tasteful way it was. It was people always say you go in the cell and it takes a couple years off your life, like, and you see why. So for me, I 100% agree with that. As far as greatest stories of all times, I would have to just wait a couple more years just to be a little bit far removed from it.
I have a hot take.
Mm-hmm.
Now, part of the reason why this feud was so good was because it lasted a year and they were able to keep it hot and fresh through injury and through only 3 matches, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
So, taking that into account, this may not be accurate. But my hot take is after the Seth Rollins feud, every feud CM Punk's going to be in is going to be at or better than the feud with Drew McIntyre.
Whoa. Wow. How we get there? Oh, okay. Okay,
This is just what Punk does. This is what just Punk does. CM Punk and MJF is the best storyline in the history of AEW.
Yeah.
Right behind
I've said that a lot.
Yep, right behind the Elite storyline. It is by far the best. MJF and CM Punk is better than Drew McIntyre and CM Punk. And if we think what's happening is going to happen in regards to a shift in Punk's character, he kind of, to me, he went out of his way to try to get booed. I said in that promo segment they had last week on Raw, I was like, damn, it was like, like who are they trying to get? Okay. Who are they trying to boo here? Like, what's the plan? If you are the Office, who do you want? Unless we just do face versus face, which typically WWE kind of does not do that. There's somebody they want to get booed. There's somebody they want to get cheered. And I said after their first initial promo segment, I'm like, it seems like Seth is the one that's going to get booed. It seemed like there was a concerted effort on Raw Monday to make Seth be a little bit more babyfaces than what CM Punk was. I think there's a reason for that. Bush, we talked about that earlier. So if he's going to be a heel and he cashes in this favor to Heyman and Roman Reigns is involved, a Roman and Punk feud is going to be better than Drew and Punk. And then if we keep going and then say we go to a CM Punk Cody Rhodes feud, a CM Punk Cody Rhodes feud is going to be better than a Drew McIntyre CM Punk feud. And that's not a knock on Drew at all. That's just, you're talking about the pieces that are there, the history that's there. Think about the stuff that we would go crazy for and pop over. It may go over the head of 90% of the fans. But think about the things that can be said about their time in AEW in a Cody and CM Punk feud. I'm here for that. Roman and Punk, we don't even say anymore. And then there's other ones too. So I think as good as that feud was, and then I can't wait to really think through if that is, it's not my top for the year, but it's top 3. It's going to be top 3. I just think I'm that high on Punk's ability to tell a story with this front office that is there now, that understands how to tell a story and what you need. And we don't need Punk on every Raw show. We don't need Punk wrestling every single month. I just think that this is going to be part of the course for this run in WWE.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a fair thing to say. There are some great feuds on the way. I mean, there are things you didn't even tap into. How about Punk and his relationship with Paul Heyman and the Shield over the years? Like, there's a lot of things they can tap into, and they have been tapping into that story. I mean, that night I texted you that Raw was cooking and Seth and Sammy were in the ring. You did this, you did that. It all harkened back to Shield stuff. Like, yeah, it's indicative of just how great the stories have been and how they're utilizing every piece of nostalgia, content, story that they have available to them to tell stories today. So
they're actually doing an incredible job of paying us off for watching for all these years, right? Like, we want to be invested for our time. Why we loved Marvel so much. You would watch Avengers and it would be something from like the first Iron Man. You're like, hell yeah, I remember that like 8 years ago. That's sweet. And like forever, they wouldn't even acknowledge something that happened 2 Raws before the Raw show you're watching. You're just like, yo, am I supposed to forget? This match has already happened, or am I supposed to forget they was just beefed out 2 weeks ago down there tag teaming? Like, what is going on? At least now we're at a point where it's like if you're paying attention, you're going to be paid off for you being around and paying attention. And even if you don't and you wasn't around and you're new, you're still going to enjoy it. But if you were around, you're going to enjoy it even more.
Yeah, because it's not like you can't, like the movie reference that you used, it's not like you don't enjoy Avengers because you didn't catch on to that one little thing that was there from Iron Man 1. You still enjoy what they've put together. That's not changing.
Yep. For sure.
And like while we're still on a Punk talk, like AEW almost had me turned on Punk. The stories coming out of there, they almost made me believe that he's the villain. And I know you guys have kind of touched on this in pods previous, but you know, it's not just WWE's ability to have a creative and great story anymore. It's his shift in mentality. It's his shift in being in a much better environment. You know, like they shot themselves in the foot big time when they released that security footage. And it was everything that he said it was in his interview with, I think it's Amani. I think that's how you say it.
Yep. Ariel.
It was everything that Punk said it was. And so now you realize that he was never the cancer. He was never the toxicity. And they almost had me believe in that mess. And to the stories we hear now, and it's written all over him when he is involved in something that he's having fun. And you hear the stories that he's trying to help bring up the young talent and stuff. I'm glad he's out of there.
NXT's doing a double taping as we are recording this pod. He's there. To your point.
Well, you know what they were saying bad about him being down at NXT. I'm like, y'all need to stop. Y'all internet gots to stop. Y'all gots to stop.
But he said
he was down there for the ladies.
Nah, that's
he's got a
chick magnet Punk. He ain't cheating on
chick magnet Punk.
That's what the CM is, right?
That's what the CM stands for. Look, she hates the man. Don't even know what his name stands for.
She must not have known that.
God bless.
Mind you, I still whatever on Punk, but meeting him in person, like I do feel like a little phony because when I first met him, he just seemed like such a good guy. Like I still have my feelings about Punk and why I'm not a Punk girl. Like I really can't stand him, but meeting him in person and talking to him in person, he is just a regular guy, and you do feel that energy from him. So I guess those people,
because he beat up your guys over there, the Young Bucks.
That might have something to do with. Actually, no, you know my real thing. My only thing.
It turned that night for sure for her.
But yeah, but it turned. Well, no, that wasn't Brawl Out, was it? Brawl Out was when I was like, okay, Punk, that's not cool.
I just said it. It turned that night.
No, but not the Bucks. I'm talking about. No, mine was always ever the press conference. That was rude and disrespectful what you did. And when you did that next to Tony and you put him in a compromising position, I'm sorry, I'm a business person. Like, you just don't do that. That told me something about that person's integrity. And again, he was in a different mindset there.
You calling out his integrity after all the stuff you've heard about.
But listen to what I'm saying.
What's happening? Because
at the end of the day, it's still a matter of fact. If I did that, I would have people who hate on me for what I did. Now, you don't know the mindset I was in and the environment that I was in that led me to that. I'm just saying just what the true fact of the matter is and the actual what we saw, what I actually heard, and how I was like, oh my God, that is just so distasteful for somebody that I admired. We know you're not supposed to meet your heroes. We know that people make mistakes. I'm not saying that he should be held to a higher standard. I'm just saying that really rubbed me the wrong way. And then that's how my feelings on him. But meeting him prior to that, he just seems like a really good guy. And it seems like when you hear him, he really cares about the business. He really wants people to learn from some of the mistakes that he made when he was younger.
Well, he'll be down in NXT, guaranteed. Yeah. When his in-ring career is over, guaranteed. He will be down in NXT. Come out and
said that's what he wants to do. He wants Sean's job when Sean hangs it up.
That fire's back, baby. Because you were talking, Bush, you talked earlier about Triple H, right? Like how you must have that fire. I think for people like Sean and Hunter, it's not as much because they get to do it through everybody else at the highest level possible. So it's not like they're just an agent. where, okay, you got 3 matches tonight, and you're like, damn, I wish I could still be in the ring. I'm sure at this point, Triple H gets off so much on writing and then seeing it come to fruition and seeing how I think he's good. I think now he's probably like, you know what? If I wasn't doing this, yeah, I would miss it. Because if you think, Austin said it took him, a year to get the business like out of his system. He was depressed. But I think if he went right into like a role where he was still involved, I don't think it would have been like that for him. I think it's like when you are forced to quit and it just stops. Edge, same thing, right? Forced to stop, and that was it. I think that's where you kind of get that.
And hell, UCH, he cries every time one of his people from NXT have a great match at these PLEs. He's back there hugging them. You see all these pictures, both their eyes full of water. So
I know
he's living through them. That too.
I know he was crying. I thought Gorilla was kind of warm.
Yeah, a little
Which
bit.
would make sense why Zoe looks like that. Chris, you would not be on. We're going to do like a year-end show, probably start next week. So real quick, I need your top 5 wrestlers of the year.
Ooh.
Male or female, doesn't matter.
Punk. Maybe not in top 5 order. I'm
Yeah.
throw them out there. Punk, Rhea, Roman, Jacob, Liv.
Strong list. Do you know what your match of the year is already?
I'm gonna say no. I would say I would need to think on that. I think the Hell in the Cell is obviously up there. Yeah, I'd need some time to think about that because
Spoiler alert.
going all the way back to this year. I mean, technically WrestleMania was still this
Come
year.
on,
So
that's why I said. Why I say spoiler alert?
Yeah,
I'll tell you mine's now.
Sure.
Endgame.
Night 2. Yeah. Roman Cody, you're not touching that.
No.
You're not touching that anytime soon. Like,
I think that should be exempt from this. I know this is the first that we're doing this.
It can't be.
It got to be exempt.
It happened this year.
It can't be because you ranked it as the greatest of all time before it even happened yet. So it can't.
But no, hold on. Thank you. And you know what? I need to get my props because sometimes I get thrown and raked over the crows. First off, Matt said facious when I got in trouble last time in like episode 40 because I was making up words. That was like one of the first words of me making up words. He said it tonight on the pod. Then I came on here and I said, mark my words, this is going to be the greatest WrestleMania of all time. Oh, you crazy. You can't even say it before it happens.
No, that wasn't what you said, though.
No, I said this is going to be the best match, number 1 match of Mania of all times is what I said. And you come on there and you said, how you going to say that it's on your list and it hasn't happened yet? I said, well, how you going to tell me what I'm going to put on my list? Do you remember that?
I remember that.
What happened? And everybody's clamoring
I think we put it up to the people
the greatest thing
on Twitter
in real life.
And see whose list was best. And I think you had 1 vote and it was you.
And I probably wasn't even me because I probably didn't even know how to vote back then.
No, believe me, it was you.
Okay.
Point
is, I was clairvoyant when I said that was going to be the greatest Mania match of all time.
Excellent. We're very proud of you. Okay. Top. So then I'm guessing you go on top feud is for you is Punk and Drew for the year.
Top feud, sure. Yeah. Because this is going to sound really messed up. Up until now, what has Cody? Like, this sounds terrible. Hot take, right? What feud, up until he took that pile driver last week, made you feel? What Cody match made you feel? The tag with Roman, probably.
With Bad Blood, but for me, I would say it would be Cody Rock.
What happened? As your top feud?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a feud. And I'll be honest,
it was a feud.
You talked about Roman Rock. God, if we don't get, I don't know, Cody Rock, Roman Rock, if we don't come up with that, then what did The Rock even do all of that for this year? Because, man,
1, 2, 3.
I didn't see that coming. I didn't think that I would be, I mean, he did it again.
Yep.
The final boss was some of the most captivating stuff, not just on television, but social media. You were getting ready for SmackDowns by going to his Instagram and seeing.
Man, talk about it. 30-minute Friday afternoon
videos.
Promos, man.
Why he's working out too?
Is swearing off limits?
No, that's what we do on this.
So when he looked into the camera and he was like, man to man, from the bottom of my heart, fuck your story.
I popped so hard.
That was the one.
Man, like,
That was the one.
That's the only time Roman's been on a back burner.
Yep. And it was clear as day.
If Roman didn't have the title, you could do all that without Roman. You needed to finish the story by putting the title on Cody. Like, I would have been satisfied if we got to a WrestleMania where it was Cody Rock this year. Excuse me. That year.
Oh yeah, for sure. Now,
wow, the only thing I hate is that stupid belt he's been carrying around.
Yeah, that's
rest in peace, Muhammad Ali.
I hate that belt like you just wouldn't believe. I can't believe he showed back up with it.
He's a people's champ.
Go away with that
He's a people's
belt.
champ.
That's like Rhodesia talking about the damn speed title.
Hey.
We lost the speed title.
The speed title.
I don't even know. I don't
She
even
be
know.
hype on that
For
speed, yeah.
$1 million, for $1 billion, you can ask me who is a speed champion, and I would say I didn't even know that they would still actually have it. And I think there's a women's speed champion too, right?
Yeah. Candace. Candace LeRae.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know.
I got a fun story to get us out here because you talked about the lottery. The lottery tonight is what, $760 billion or something like that?
Million, but okay.
Million? Something like that. Yeah, I think it's 760.
It's like
I was trying to pull it up. I can't pull it up. Whatever. So let's go with $760 million.
Okay.
What, from a wrestling perspective, would you do with that money?
Is that enough money to buy AEW?
Jinx, dude! I was about to say that.
I'm going to say no. I'm going to say Tony would not come up off of for $760 million.
I would buy ROH just to end it. I shouldn't say that either.
Damn.
Sorry, I don't mean that.
Tough,
I don't
man.
mean that.
Y'all
at all.
yes, you did.
I don't mean that. No, I don't.
That.
I don't mean that. That was mean.
I mean it. I don't say I can do. I'm not saying I can do a better job, but I can get some people around me to help me do a better job.
I would, if I had $760 million. Oh, I know what I'm doing.
What's that?
Green shirt guy, I'm coming for you, sucker.
Oh
like
man.
That.
Hell yeah.
I thought you meant more like in
do
the
for a living?
production of wrestling.
Nothing. He goes to the wrestling shows.
I think he had something on Vince. I think he
man,
might
to hell with that. That one Raw show when my man showed up with his family, I was like, yo, green shirt guy has a wife and kids?
He's got to be some kind of CEO, something.
But that's incredible, though, for you to be able to go to those shows by yourself. You know how many shows I could go to if I wasn't paying for Rhodesia's and Matt's tickets? I'd be at way more shows than I'm at right now. God bless to him. He wouldn't be sitting ringside like that if he had to buy 4 every single time.
Maybe
my man
though.
said, "I bet you he wouldn't, because if he
knows
could, he
the
would."
dirt on Vince, he probably would.
But you
Vince
know,
ain't got nothing to do anymore.
He's got someone who's up there with him, right? There's a gentleman who I believe is of Indian descent. When I see him at the shows, he goes to the ones that are in other countries.
Yeah,
I see him in France, Australia. I've seen him. He's an older dude.
They give it up.
Man, he's been to every international show. Green shirt guy, that's the only time you don't see him.
Yep.
So you got green shirt guy, you got the guy you talking about, and about 2 seats down, you got the black lady. And she's been representing for like the last year and a half. I've seen her at shows previously, but not at the level at the shows she is now. So shout out to them. Shout out to them.
You'll be a permanent fixation there too, right?
I'm kicking him out. I'm taking his seat.
Oh wow.
Oh, I said I'm coming for you. I'm taking his seat.
You ain't gonna take the seat next to him?
What you meant.
Oh no, I'm taking his seat.
But why would you take the seat next to him?
No, because I'm taking his seat. Then everybody's gonna be googling like, who is the new guy? They gonna pull up PFW podcast. We out of here.
The PFC, what you just call it?
You know what I'm saying? And on that note, we out of here, man. It's time to go.
Real quick before you cut us loose, thank you for having me. A great time tonight. Really loved being here. Really just lots of fun. Always love chopping it up with you about wrestling. Good to see Rhodesia. Love hearing her takes on the pod, and just a real pleasure to be here. I gotta come back. You gotta have me back. I gotta hook up with E.
Of course.
I can't believe he faked an illness just to not be here with us today. I've gone to bat for him as much as I can tonight.
You have
sure
gone
did.
to bat for him.
He would be
and
proud.
Shout out to you. You have been, of course, you've been a day one. I mean, we go back. like in real life. But
I mean, yeah, you're family, so
yeah, always representing on the comments on Twitter. So love for you on that and appreciate you. When you do come back though, if E is on, I'm going out sick that day. I cannot handle two of y'all on the same show
I do
at the same time.
I do it.
I'm gonna think on all that could have been tonight.
But again, thank you, Chris, for even coming here. So thank you.
Thank you.
Yep. So that's a wrap, y'all. Next time you guys will. So actually, Chris shouted out his TikTok earlier. You want to shout out again, Chris?
At Bear Smash. I don't make content often, but there's some fun content on there with the Funkos and sound bites over them that relate to the wrestlers that are featured. There's a tour of the room, the game room, the lounge, the sanctuary, where I just sit back and relax on an almost daily basis. So if you want to check that out and see a little bit more of that, that's where you would see that at.
Fantastic. But yeah, we will have you back, man. Appreciate you. Enjoyed you. You guys know the deal already. Leave a thumbs up, like, comment, interact with us. We appreciate you guys for that. As I was saying, the next 2 weeks, we are going to be doing a best of show. Probably drop one next week and then drop one the week after. We're going to come up with some categories. Of course, I'll put the categories out on Twitter, get you guys to vote. So we'll go over the results and then give ours. I gave out a couple spoilers on mine already. I may change one of them, though, while we were in the middle of talking. I was like, I may flip that. But, of course, you got to tune in to see what exactly I'm talking about. But we out here. Love you guys. We'll catch you next week. Actually, if you are not going to listen, because I know some of you guys are busy, have a happy holiday, Merry Christmas, whatever you guys celebrate. Stay safe.
Happy Hanukkah.
If you're doing something for New Year's and you don't come back here until January, and I would love to we'll see how it plays out. I would love to do like a live post show for the Raw after or the first Raw on Netflix.
Oh, yeah.
I think that show's gonna be that.
You have to. It's gonna be
newsworthy. Yeah,
it's gonna be stacked like a WrestleMania. You have.
Yep. So I think we may have to do that in our future. So we got a lot coming up for you guys. Like I said, appreciate you guys. Love you. We are out. See you next time.